Was
And
it
then we can
okay?
talk
No,
about
no, no.
those.
You can cut everything that you want, wherever I went off topic. Just cut.
Hey everyone, I'm Maximus from Sofa Gamers and welcome to IViews, a YouTube series where we interview gamers and YouTubers. We're back at it again, and February just felt like the perfect month to bring the series back, as January still felt a bit like 2017 for me. Today is episode number 4 and our guest comes from Barcelona, Spain. On social media she goes by the name of Nucaica and she's a board games designer. How cool is that? We all have board games memories since young age and the most fortunate carried on to their adult lives. To know more about Núria, her real name, and her amazing work, you can search Twitter for Nucaica and also connect with her by listening to her podcast with other friends called Ya Nos Toca. It's Spanish, but who doesn't speak Spanish these days, huh? I think you do. It's a humor show, so you'll have a laugh, that's guaranteed. Please welcome Nucaica.
Hello, Núria. Thank you so much for being here and accepting our invitation for IViews. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, of course.
Yeah, pleasure to finally meet you too. Thank you for inviting me. It's really nice to be here. I'm a bit nervous, but I hope I can answer all your questions.
Yes, for sure. You are a gamer and also board game designer. But let's start with video games first. Do you remember the first video game you played?
I do. My gaming experience is a bit strange, but my first video game is called, I think, Horas de Skier. In Spanish, it was Horacio el Esquiador. It's a really old game, and I played it with my brother. He had a Spectrum that we plugged to a cassette player and then to a black and white TV. And so that's the first video game I remember playing. And it got stuck to my brain. It was like, remember Horas de Skier? We still talk about it with my brother.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then I had a huge gap between that and playing video games again. So it's a kind of a strange, I started early and then I didn't play video games again until much later.
Oh, that's so cool. That's like, I never heard of that one. I have to
No, I'm sure not many people has.
And from that vintage era, do you still dive into those video games every now and then, or just like
no, not at all?
I mean, consoles?
This one I've checked again because it was in my memory and stuff. But I didn't play video games again until I bought a PS3, so it was pretty late. I did play on PC afterwards, like World of Warcraft mainly. I remember that one, Guild Wars and stuff like this, O-Game, but not in between. So the vintage for me kind of doesn't exist in that sense. I didn't play these video games of the 90s. No, I skipped the 90s.
Skip them all. So
I skipped them all. I went again straight to the 2000s.
And from Warcraft, you mentioned Warcraft. It was like the first strategy Warcraft, or just like the online that's...
The online one, the World of Warcraft, the online.
Okay. So in all your gaming history, do you think you can make an all-time favorite top 5? It can be more, that's fine.
I will try. I think for different reasons. There's some games there for different reasons. So I really like the Mass Effect series. Most of the games that BioWare has done, I've really enjoyed. So Mass Effect being one of them, and perhaps Mass Effect 2 as the best of the 3 for me. Obviously Dragon Age there as well. I really liked it. 1 and 2. I know that a lot of people doesn't like the second one. I actually did like it. So I'm one of those that enjoyed Dragon Age 2. Keeping up with the BioWare ones, Knights of the Old Republic. I love that game. I'm really in love with it. I played it on PC, but I couldn't figure out the controls very well. In the end, I decided to buy an Xbox so I could play Knights of the Old Republic.
It's a good experience.
It's the best excuse. It was like, I need to play, because I think it was Mass Effect 1 and Knights of the Old Republic were not available for PlayStation. So I realized that once I had the PlayStation, so I had to get the Xbox. So those are there, up there for personal reasons. I really like those games, the story, the engagement, the storytelling aspect. That I thought it was really nice. The emotional involvement, everything.
I have great memories from Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah?
Too. Yeah. I was really hooked into that game. Actually, it was not the... I started to play it in a weird environment, which was at work.
I don't think you should say that. Can you say that?
No, I can. It's fine. No, it's because we had a lot of time sometimes. We had a huge loads of work, like crazy. We were working for long periods of time, a lot. And then suddenly we had like a drop, and then we were just there. And what do we do? And sometimes we just fill the time with a little bit of video games without anyone knowing. It was this colleague of mine, and then he introduced me to that, and I love that game. I sometimes I think of it. I think I still have the pirated CD of that. I don't do that anymore. But the other day I was putting stuff like in the right place, and I was like, wow, this game! I found the CDs, and I was like, I so wanted to play this again.
Yeah. I was still not sure how I bought the two. I bought the CDs. So it came with a like a music CD. It looked like a music CD, double box stuff. And I tried that. My computer couldn't handle it, so that's why I went to the console. But I think there was a Humble bundle on of all Star Wars games, and I just got it. So I tried to start playing it again on the computer now, and it just brought me all my memories of trying to hunt for a double yellow lightsaber. That was my goal.
Really? You used the yellow one?
Yeah. Double yellow lightsaber.
Yeah, funny.
I don't know why, but that was it got stuck in my mind.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
like
so those ones, so those ones were. It was beautiful game. I really like that one.
Yes,
I've never played the online multiplayer one that they have now. I haven't. I think I was in the beta when they were preparing it, but my computer couldn't handle the graphics, so that was a bad experience. So I never played it.
Beautiful game. Wow.
Yeah.
So cool that you played it as well. And you mentioned a few more BioWare, but I don't know if you are like a one-genre person when it comes to video games, or do you like to explore different thematics and experiences? And besides that, if there's a style that you could live without just fine.
That I could live without just fine. Okay. So it is true that I kind of like the style that BioWare has in like single player games, let's put it that way. On a single player approach, I really enjoy that kind of more linear story with some choices, but in the end, this kind of idea. But I really enjoy online multiplayer games with cooperation, so co-op stuff, like, because we usually play in a party. So the ones that I've had, so these were kind of more personal top. And then there's the more group top. And in the group top, there's Borderlands, definitely. I really enjoyed playing Borderlands, but also with a team. So with my boyfriend and stuff, and that was great. Borderlands 2 is a really cool game that I really enjoyed. I had tons of fun playing The Division because also you could have, a group of four agents going through the story. It was not just the multiplayer aspect of it, but you could actually play the story like in Borderlands in a group. So it was really interesting to play a story with a team and just go through and explore the whole. It's just not explore the world and get into or. I really don't enjoy, and maybe that goes into the thing I can do without. I don't really like competitive. So when it's PvP, you won't find me there in general. And I'm saying in general, I don't care for that aspect of a game. And if it comes with it, then it's fine. But I rarely play it, except for Star Wars Battlefront, which...
Okay, because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, because it's Star Wars. Because you can't play it in any other way, or at least the first, the one, not this one that has some story, but the previous one, it was just PvP. So the online now, the Star Wars Battlefront. Yeah.
I think it was one of the first 4 games that I bought for when I got the PS4. That was like one of the first games I bought.
It was really cool.
Be a huge Star Wars fan as well.
I am.
So
I am. Yes.
it was definitely worth playing it. Yeah.
Oh yes, I mean the graphics are amazing. They really made it to the detail, and you got the feel that you were really there, running scared away from Darth Vader. It's like Darth Vader is here, I can hear him, so you run. You know, it's like I know I had to face him, but I usually run because he always choked me. But that was my end.
And did you like to? What was like the location you enjoyed the most? I mean, if we are fans and all the movies and all those locations for years and years in our head, and then you can jump into it and like almost be there. You had a favorite?
I don't know. I like them all of them a lot. I think that in general, I really liked Hoth. I really liked when we got pulled into Hoth to play. That was really cool. But I also enjoyed the one that was in Tatooine when you're running around basically where the Millennium Falcon is, and you're just fighting in that sort of small area. I really like that too. I didn't like the snipers that got on top of the Millennium Falcon and just killed everybody from there, but it still was a nice location.
Yeah, true. It was really beautiful game. And at the moment, are you playing? What is the video game that you are playing at the moment? And why would you recommend gamers to give it a try? Even if you have like playing a lot of things now, but if you recommend it.
No, I'm actually not playing as much as I generally do on video games right now. So the one I am playing most regularly is Fortnite. I am because also the co-op thing.
Yes,
so
a lot of people are playing Fortnite now. It's funny to see how it's just.
Yeah, on Friday. Well, we started playing. I don't know when it came out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no problem.
I remember. We're not playing the PvP part. We're playing the other one. The cooperation story-based thing again with the team. So we meet on Friday nights with a group of people. So we play together and we go through the story, and we really enjoy it because of the different aspects of what you can do in that game. So it is, yes, you go there and you can shoot and kill. You know, I like that. I am a hack and slash person. I admit it, but it is also quite cool the building aspect and how you have to be aware of the building that you've built and how long it can stay that way through the attacks. So it's sometimes you have to try to protect more of the building and then try to attack or build very fast and then you don't find the buttons, or and then you can do really cool structures and very fun things, and like the maze of death, as my boyfriend calls it. He likes to build, you know, little traps that make little traps do other things. So it's a trap under a trap under a trap. So you can become very creative in ways of killing monsters in that game. Let's put it that way. You make them jump and then you freeze them and then you shoot them. So it's a fun game for a team, and we really enjoy it. We really enjoy it.
Oh, great. Thanks for the tips, because even for me, that's like the kind of game that I usually don't play, and I just see people talking about it, and I'm like, okay, I would like to hear from someone, and that like it was good that you just explained a few important things about it, because it helps for sure to want to give it a try.
Yeah, I think that, for example, I don't like games that you have to, I always pronounce that wrong, grind. like
Yeah.
grind,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. Like in World of Warcraft,
Yes.
it was like go and get 25 pelts of whatever, and you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
or just I spent days just
Yeah.
with the rocks over there getting rock stuff for,
Can be frustrating.
and in the end it got very frustrating. In this one, you also require a lot of materials and things to build stuff, but it doesn't feel that you're getting them that way. I don't know how to say it, but,
yeah, but that
that
grind
part,
aspect is not so. It doesn't make you
it is
lose
there.
time doing that and have more fun maybe.
It is there, and you have to do it, and if you don't have enough you'll have problems, but at the same time it is very fast paced, so you don't feel stuck into the I'm getting I need wood, I need more wood. No. So it's quite interesting in that aspect, that you still need to do that, but it's not so heavy on that part. And also there's a lot of different types of characters, and even if you like a shooter, you can still build, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that makes you not be able to do several things. You can still heal the party because you can carry something and be a constructor, so it doesn't matter. You can
shoot and keep going.
you can really do whatever you want. You will be better at something, but it doesn't really matter. It's more about what you want to do that day, or how do you feel you want to play. So it's far more open in that sense.
That's great. That's good. It's good to know, and for sure, people watching this, they don't play Fortnite now. They
can
know
try
a
it.
bit better how it works. The basics.
I think that the only open version, though, is the player versus player aspect. I think that's the only one that you can play for free without buying the game yet. The game is now only available for founders. I do think that it's going to be open. It's going to be for free soon. It's that kind of model. They are using that that model that they started putting it there for founders to test and improve. And then at some point they'll just make it open for free for everybody to play in player versus environment.
Yeah, because a lot of people play it.
Fair warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can try the other part, but I haven't played the other part, so I don't know.
Cool. Going a little bit now of the games that you've been trying, but have you ever had an idea for a video game? Many.
No, but it's actually a bit funny. Sort of. So yes, it's a bit of a strange answer. I know. It's kind of the first time I thought I wanted to design something. It was a video game idea. So it was something to be played on a screen. Let's put it in generic terms, right? On a computer or on a tablet or whatever. After a while, with trying to come up with how and everything, I thought it's a lot easier if I just put it on paper. And I tried to do it, on a paper form, so I can first, because I'm not although I know a little bits and pieces of programming, I don't program. I'm not a programmer, so I can't really make the game myself, So it's like, how am I going to visualize this game? So I started doing it like a board game. And so from there, it's where I ended up in the board game area, because I thought, wow, I can do so much with this format. And the ideas, I can just test them faster. I can see if it goes in the direction that I was looking for or not. And I actually went back and remembering that I loved playing board games as well as, my idea was to try to recreate also some of the, not recreate, but some of the great experiences I've had in video games, have them in board games too, right? To try to, I don't know, in some ways, to bring something from there over here. And that's one of the ideas for the game that is going to get published. So I'm not yet a board game designer. I am getting there, I hope. And I hope that some people will like to play it and they will enjoy it. But one of the ideas behind the game, or when I started playing around how to design the game, was translating an endless runner onto a board game. So part of the mechanic that game uses is the idea of an endless runner character. You keep running, you keep finding things, you keep finding stuff, and my question was, what happens with the stuff that you've jumped, right? An endless runner, there's this character that keeps running and jumping, So, but that monster is still there, right?
Yeah.
So what happens with the character that comes running behind you? Then they find the same monster. So basically that kind of thing is what I try to bring into the game and have fun finding the monsters that everybody else has left behind. so it's this kind of thing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, but I really I liked a lot the connection and how somehow it started like the video game, but then it translated into board games. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bit, I was surprised.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
And it kind of jumps a bit into the next question I wanted to ask you, which is like we are covering two topics that are easily cataloged as nerd. And in your opinion, playing video games, board games, or being a gamer, do you think it still comes with a stereotype attached to it?
Well, yeah, yes. I think that it's getting more pervasive. It's cooler, perhaps, now than it was before. Like the comics, right? Before it was also a nerd thing, and now you have all these mainstream movies of comics. So I think it's in a kind of a similar situation. But you still, so for example, when I meet somebody new and I'm chatting with them and I say, oh, I'm a gamer, I play video games or I play board games or whatever. The first thing they ask me is, how old are you? Right? As if I couldn't play because I'm old. I don't mind being old, and I love playing video games, and I don't see it as a problem. But it is true that the first question is, aren't you too old? No, they're not asking it you that way, but they're kind of, it seems like it's for kids, and to some people, or at least there's still this stereotype a little bit there. Plus, I'm a woman, so it's like, maybe it's even worse for me, because it's like,
compounds in a way.
So in some cases is aren't you too old to play? And in some other cases is, I'm not sure you're really a video gamer because you're a woman.
Do you play video games?
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, and it's true, I am not really, I haven't played video games for a very long time. I really enjoy them. I love them. I like talking about them, following people that talks about them like you, seeing the trends, where is it going, microtransactions, not what happens with the loot boxes. I like all these topics.
Big talk about that.
But I am a gamer in the sense that I've played role-playing games since I'm 13. I've never stopped. I've played board games. I've played anything that, I love. Gaming in general. So when somebody is like doubting and you seem to have to demonstrate something, it's very strange.
I think it's, for me, it's like a cultural meme. And what happens is when you start to somehow consume, like in the good sense of the word, it's like a book. We start reading when we are young, and then it's not because we grow up that we stop reading books.
Exactly.
Video games is like it has an expiry date. So you get to teenager and then, okay, you are 20, you should stop now and do something in your life. And it's like, why? If you grab a book, and I love books and I have a ton of them, it's fine, but video games, it's like they are still too young to be recognized as something that has that cultural aspect and can make you open your mind and see things from a different way. I learned a lot of English because of video games. I lived in Portugal when I was a kid. There were no games before in Portuguese. Everything was in English. And here we started to learn English a little bit later. So I learned a lot because of video games. And just one small thing, but...
No, but it's true. I mean, for me, video games have been really important in keeping in contact with people. It sounds strange because everybody relates video games to, being alone or playing on your sofa, on yourself. But I've traveled a lot. I've lived in a lot of different countries for work. And it was really nice to play again a game with my friends that were in a different place, in a different time zone. And we could just enjoy together running around woods, getting 10 pelts of wolf or something. So while talking about what are we doing in life, and
keep connected for sure.
Exactly. And I actually met my boyfriend while playing with a group of friends of mine. We played together. He was in Paris, I was in the Netherlands, and well, it's like, for me, it is a different social aspect that it is also quite nice when you get to also experience it that way. So, and as you say, it lets you see things from different perspectives. It is fun as well, and why we cannot have fun? That's that's the other thing. And I think you mentioned what style of games I like, or what style, and I think that goes through all my gaming experiences. I like, because I really like movies, books, anything related to fantasy and science fiction. Video games and games get into that area a lot. So if you really enjoy some of these types, there's so much to explore in this kind of media that is just inevitable that you'll end up there trying to find out a little bit more.
Yes, for sure.
I see that you like that too.
I love fantasy and science fiction, and those are my two main areas in terms of taste. Even movies, books, and all that, and video games as well.
Exactly.
It's another media that we can just jump in and have fun. For example, Star Wars would be less awesome if we didn't have video games of Star Wars, or comic books from Star Wars, or all the novels that came and they enrich so much that universe. I mean, if we just had the movies, it wouldn't be the same. Because then it ends up influencing one another sooner or later.
Yeah, and it also gives you the opportunity to transport yourself into that universe, right? So it's a different approach to something that you like. So for me, it's complementary. Everything that can complement things that I like, they are very welcome.
Now moving on a little bit from there, like to transition from the video game chapter and enter the board games one. Is there any game that you played in both versions? Video game, board game?
No, actually, no. No.
And do you know like one of those cases, or have you come like across?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I think that I might be wrong now. It would be really terrible to be wrong on camera, but I think that there's a board game of Dark Souls, and there might even be one of Bloodborne.
Oh, wow.
But I haven't played them. I have played an RPG of Dragon Age, so that I have done.
Okay.
I've played the RPG of the Dragon Age universe, that I have done, but I think that was the only one.
I don't know if I'm going to say something very wrong, but I just remembered one video game that was created after the board game having huge success. I don't know if it was Valheim. I can check.
Could be, I don't know. Not sure. We will check.
Because I know that there was this board game that was really successful, and then they took it to the video game platform, and they kind of kept that turn way of playing. Like, now it's my turn, I finish everything I have to do, now it's your turn to play, and then you wait. It was like this, but I will check and then just throw it in here.
Yeah, the truth is that I've never played one. I think more recently a lot more are coming out. Yeah. I'm more aware of games that are coming out from movies, board games that are coming out from movies, than board games that are coming out from video games. So I'm not sure.
But you mentioned two already, so that's already nice.
Yeah, I think so. I will double check. Dark Souls for sure. I'm pretty sure, and I think I've seen the one from Bloodborne, but I don't want to say a wrong thing.
It seems awful. And you told me before that when you tried to have that idea for a video game, it ended up being a board game. But would you say that somehow those first video games that you played, or even if it was in a later stage, do you think they influenced your professional journey?
Yeah, so I just clarify that first video game that I wanted to, I never got to anything. Yeah, so the thing is that I started thinking of other ideas and other ideas and other ideas and other ideas, and I ended up doing something else. But as you say, for sure, I mean, all the previous games that I've played have something or other that I find interesting when an idea comes up in my mind for a game. Sometimes it's a theme or a thematic approach that the game had, or a way of telling a story. Some others is more a mechanic that they had, like this idea of the runner but they definitely influence. Somehow they are down there. Sometimes you're not very aware of them, but in the end they come up and you're like, oh yeah, there's this thing and that thing.
Yeah, because in a way it's like, do we really create things, or we just get influence for so many things that already were created, and like we
everything,
our personal touch.
Everything exists under the sun, right?
Exactly.
Is it anything really new? That's always the question. It's about putting together something that works and giving it your touch, giving it your style, giving it your swing. And novelty is a strange thing to to talk about.
They say like the old is the new, like the new.
Yeah.
So yeah. And a few days ago when we talked about doing this interview, I went and I was listening to your podcast, and at a point one of your friends, she talks about playing board games with little ones during Christmas and family, how kids, they get all excited about it. And even me, I have great memories from my childhood playing board games, and my 4-year-old girl now, she has a bunch of board games. Whenever we can, we play together. But culturally speaking, what importance do you think board games have in our personal growth and social connections? Like, in other words, how some basics of the games can help us shape who we are.
I have a lot of colleagues here in Barcelona that are into education and using gaming experiences and using board games for that. So we've had a lot of chats about this. I'm absolutely convinced that a lot of the social skills that we acquire are really, really I'm not going to say that we could learn them through that, but board games could definitely help us grow more of those skills.
Yes.
Because in competitive board games, for example, you're learning how to win, how to lose. You know, not winning is great, but you need to know how to win in a gracious way sometimes, right? Learn how to lose, but you also learn how to strategize, how to prioritize, what to do with your time. It's just very basic things, and strategizing and thinking. It's you don't even know that you're doing it because you're having fun, right? Sure. But in the end, when you're choosing this card over that card because you think that he has that and the other one has that other thing, you're making logical decisions. You're making decisions. You're taking a strategy. You're thinking forward, and those are things that you can start practicing at any age with any kind of game, and that's on competitive games. In cooperative games, there's all these other set of skills that are more on team building. How do you manage a team? How not to be an alpha player, right?
Like everyone goes and works for the same.
How to let go sometimes and let somebody else lead, or how to lead if that's the case in one of the games, or what happens when one of the team players is not as good as somebody else. Can you still push the team together to win as a group? And you can. There's a lot of exercises for that in team building in companies, but that is something so easy as playing with, a bunch of 8-year-olds. It is exactly the same. It is exactly the same experience. It's exactly the same ideas that you're learning. So I think that they are very educational, and at the same time, they can be a lot of fun. So.
No, that's a great feedback. Totally agree with everything. I hope more people play more big board games. And I was, now that you talked about competition, I remember something that happened with my daughter. At a point, I got her one board game, and she got extremely competitive and annoyed when she didn't win. And then I went to search for like non-competitive board games for kids, and then I found the company that all the board games they have are just with all the aspects you were mentioning, like working together, not focusing on the winning side, but like everyone is pushing into the same direction. It's like a collective win if it happens.
Yeah.
I think it was Kingdom something, I forgot their name now, the show, because it's people, if they see this and they have kids, it's a really interesting company that produces this game. They have a lot, and they are all based in cooperation.
Yeah, because I mean, this idea that you win as a collective or you lose as a collective, right? You have to work together to some goal, and I think that that gives a lot of I am biased towards cooperative games. I prefer them, as I said before, but I really think they are quite neat. I like when they really make you have to cooperate, right? It's not just somebody can push everybody else. There's not enough. Everybody needs to put their effort there. Yeah.
What are your favorite board games of all time, and if you still play?
That's a hard one. Yeah, it's a difficult one because I don't know in your case, like you play a lot of video games, right? But for me, it's hard to replay something. So usually you play and you go and play a new one, and then you have still 10 over there waiting for you from last year, and you have already pre-ordered the next one, right? So exactly, it gets a bit stressful. So because I role play, I also design, so I have to play test my own games.
Yes.
I play board games and I play video games. There's a list of unplayed games over there. But if I have to say one that I really like and that I don't mind taking it on the table again, and let's, when somebody says, would we play it? And I'm like, yeah. That would be Mansions of Madness. Mansions of Madness, the second edition. That's the one I'm mostly playing. It's based on the myths of Lovecraft, of Cthulhu, and so you're investigating some myth, trying not to either get killed or go crazy. And it's a quite fun cooperative game, which mixes the myth of some of these very weird myths of Lovecraft with an investigatory approach. So you're just going through a set of rooms, you're revealing areas, you're trying to discover more information, you're trying to escape from the monsters or defeat them if you can, and while increasing your craziness. And there's an app, so the game is supported by an app, and I just love it. I admit it, I'm in love with that game. It's designed by also a woman, which is quite rare. She's Nikki Valens, and the first edition was just board game, and the second edition is the board game plus the app. So the app is quite useful in helping you set up the whole thing. So it's a lot faster to set up the board because obviously there's a lot of miniatures and tiles of places and little pieces and things. So the board keeps telling you what's going on, what happens. So you only drive your characters and the app will drive scenario, the story. And that combination is really fun. And yeah, especially when I'm still stuck in one scenario that we haven't been able to survive it, but maybe one day.
Challenge, yeah. Well, it seems really, really good.
So that one is recent. It's one of my, let's say it's that one that if they say let's play it again, I'm on. I mean,
on the other side, if I can say so, there is a board game that you always wanted to play, but you never got the chance to try. Like, a lot of people tell you have to try this, it's so awesome, man, but you never touched it.
Well, I've had a lot of those, but the question is really funny today because when I was little, I loved board games when I was little, right? There's a joke in my family that every time that we had a family lunch, then I would go to the room, I would grab all the games, I would put them on a stack and I would come into the living room and say, who wants to play with me? And they were all like, oh my God, not again, right? And there was one game that I always wanted, like for Christmas or birthday, and they never got me. I mean, they got me other games, but not that one. I don't know why I was fixated with it. It had a huge dragon on the box, and I'm crazy for anything called dragon. Yeah. So if it has dragon on the title, I have to try it. And I told my boyfriend some time ago, Craig, and for this Valentine's, he got me the game.
Wow.
So
really? Oh,
yeah, and it's called yes. Mysteries of Old Peking, and it's probably a game that will now be very, I don't know. I don't know, but that game I always wanted to play. It was in my mind, I still remembered it. I told him like I always wanted to play that game. So I just got it a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's awesome. Now you can play it. That's so cool.
Now you can try it. So that was the one.
That's good. That's awesome. I spoke before about kids and playing games, and I know a few gamer parents, and for sure, some of them they play with the kids. Can you recommend 3 board games for kids, like aged 5 to 6, and other 3 for adults?
That is really tough. Yeah, I'm not a very good recommender person.
Or at least that you tried and you think like, oh,
Yeah. I mean, for kids, I don't really know them very well. As you said in this podcast that we do with 3 other friends, 2 of them have kids, so they usually take care of talking about that. Yeah, but I did play one with a friend of mine and their kids called Oceanus. I don't know exactly how to. And it was a really nice, I don't know, it had the feel that I was playing it and it was tough for me. You know, not that it's difficult, but that I was engaged in the game, not that you're playing with kids, the kids are playing, and you're kind of moving pieces, right?
Yes.
But that you're actually going along. Yeah, it's actually interesting for everybody on the table. It was quite good. You basically build your own submarine, and you're going around, underwater, trying to collect. I won't say capture. These creatures, so you have to kind of collect creatures to keep scoring some points. So it's basically point scoring, which is also nice for them because they learn to count. So they have to try to count and how much is 5 plus 3 and all these things. And you have to avoid the kraken. So I would recommend. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It says 8 years. I think it's for 8 and older. But I played it with a 4-year-old and a 6, so it worked.
Yes.
It worked. And for adults, well, that depends.
3 that you really like.
Okay, 3 that are Mansions of Madness. But that is for people who want a long game. It is a very long game. So if you're not ready to play under 2 hours, just don't.
Forget.
Okay? So it's long, you stay there for a while. It's like, Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
I really like dungeon crawl, so that's why I'm very bad at recommending games, because I would always end up in fantasy and or science fiction or stuff. So I also enjoy one of the Cool Mini or Not games called Massive Darkness, which is a dungeon crawler. So basically it's a similar idea. You keep putting tiles and you keep going through with your heroes, killing monsters and getting out of the dungeon. So that's fun. If you want a small portable game that I really like for 2 players, you can also play more, but you can play 2. It's called Welcome to the Dungeon. It's a really tiny game that it has you basically are trying to compete with the other player to see who will end up facing the monsters, right? So you want to face the monsters until you decide that there's too many of them and you're not gonna be able to. So at that point, not you. So at that point you want the other person, but he might think the same thing. So it's a bluffing game. So to a point you're betting that you can do it or not. And then who gets out first means that the other one deals with the monsters. So it's a nice, like, travel size, fun game for 2.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Good, great recommendation. And if you can tell us, what's the board game you're working on at the moment?
Oh, sure. Because we're working on a couple of board games, card games mostly. The one that I'm mostly playtesting now, it's called Hold the Door. It's for 1 to 3 players. The idea is that it's a bit of a horror comedy of the 50s, right? There's these aliens that have landed in the middle of nowhere in a field, and you're stuck in a farmhouse, and all these aliens are coming over. So you have to hide in the garage and you have to build a way to escape. So basically it's a very fast game. It takes like 5 to 10, 15 minutes max to play it. Yeah, it's really, really fast. You can play it solo, so you against the timing. You can play it cooperative, so 2 people cooperating to try to get out together. Even 3 people cooperating, or 2 and 3 competitive. So the first one that finishes can leave, and the other 2 die with the aliens eating them. So that's the game I'm trying to play test now to see if all the different modes are balanced, if things work together, if the timing is right, and stuff.
No, it's lots of fun.
I hope so. I had fun. It's been a long, an idea that started last year for a contest, and I've been trying to shift and change. But I think it can be fun. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. To wrap our interview, one last question: what tips would you give to those who wish to pursue board game design life?
Ooh.
You talked about a lot of things that happened to you, but like from your experience now, you know about it more than just wanting it.
Well, I don't have enough of a bag, I wish I could just tell them from my great experience doing this, what they could do. From my humble experience and what I've known and what I've done, I think what has helped me the most, or what I feel has given me the most ideas or support is first meeting with some fellow designers, meeting with people that is also playtesting their games, getting to know them, getting to see what they're doing, exchanging ideas, giving feedback, receiving feedback. Sometimes, getting criticisms is not we don't like it very much, but getting used to getting feedback is very, very useful, so you can see what you could improve, what things you could change, what you can make better on your game. So there's usually meetups of playtesters in a lot of cities, in a lot of places, so I'm sure that it's possible to find some fellow designers, if not on Twitter or anything. There's even some podcasts about design, of board game design. There's one called Board Game Business Podcast by Forbidden Limb, and that one is all about design, so you learn a lot of good tips. And not only design podcasts as well, there's also game review podcasts, because you get to see how many different games there are there, styles, why people like certain things or dislike certain things, how important are things that designers usually don't think about, like colors, right? So if you're making a game as a designer, be aware of inclusiveness. Make sure that colorblind people can still play it. It's such a basic thing, but you always choose red, green, and red and green. No, it's like no, but you don't get these things until you start discussing, or for example, making sure that if you have characters that they are inclusive. Why they all need to be white men? Can you put some women? Can you put some short person, some taller person, some different shapes, different styles? Just try to, and I think this is nice to see why people like certain games and get a bit engaged. And the basic, just play everything you can. I recognize that I don't play enough board games. I play as much as I can, but there's so much out there. But just play and experience gameplay, because that's where the ideas come from. That's where you get a lot of new things that you want to try. Maybe they don't work. Well, doesn't matter also if it doesn't work.
Yes.
Sometimes it just doesn't work, and that's a bit hard, but you just grab that, you put it aside, and you get on with another idea that you have, and just keep there, and basically. But to me, having other designers, meeting other designers, talking about games, how do they, they have a lot of experience, so you learn a lot from them. Some are starting like you, some have been there for a longer time. It's where you get, you get the feel for what you do, and that's been, for me, it's been great. We have an amazing group here in Barcelona that we meet regularly to play test games and chat about life.
Then you connect with people, you get friends and all that.
Yeah, there's even a very large meetup that's going to happen next month here in Spain. It's called Prototipos. It's like a prototyping fest, and it's mainly It's all about prototyping. So there's going to be probably 200, from 100 to 200 prototypes to play test in a weekend. It's 200 people, and it's only it's in a hotel, and we'll just be prototyping for the whole weekend. And that is a great thing. It's something that I don't know if it happens everywhere, if it exists everywhere, but it's a really, really nice experience for people who start. You get to see a lot of what's going on. Oh yeah, definitely. You have nice playtesters and not so nice playtesters. And that's good. You know, not everybody will like the game that you are putting on the table. You have to try to accept that. And you also have to try to accept that some criticisms are very valid, and you need to make sure that you can repair that or change that experience if that's what you feel like you have to do.
Great tips. Thank you. Okay.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much, Núria, for being here today and sharing so many amazing stories with everyone. I hope you keep spreading
thank you.
board games and video games love with the world and that you can achieve everything you desire in your life.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you very much. It was great. Thank you for inviting me. I hope I wasn't too terrible. And no, thank you for making this series and, you know, showing people what other people do and what do we think and how different all the gamers are and how great we all are, right? Yeah. As a community.
Sure, yes, exactly. Thank you, Núria.
And thank you very much.
And that's a wrap, guys. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Nucaica. If you wish to connect with her, go check everything that we have in the description of the video. So all her channels, all the things that is connected to and doing, so you can learn more about board games, learn more about video games, because she left a lot of good and amazing tips for us today. If you like this interview, remember to throw us a thumbs up, smash that bell button so you can get notified whenever we upload a new video, whenever we do a new episode of IViews, whenever we stream. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, even unboxing and so on. And just subscribe, connect with us, check us on Twitter, Instagram, all that is in the description of the video. And thank you so much for being here, for watching this. Thanks for watching this, guys. Camera battery ran off right in the end when I was about to say thank you for watching this. So here it goes. Thank you so much. Really thank you so much for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed our interview with Nucaica, and I hope to see you soon, really soon, for our next IViews. Until there, take care. Have a great day.